Slàinté, y'all. Welcome to Scotch on the Bayou Live. I'm Leanne here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on a Tuesday night, the night before the true Burns night. So we're celebrating early. We do lots of celebrations here in Louisiana. So I'm always ready for the party. And so we're going to have some fun with Burns night, learn a little bit about it, and going to have a little avant-garde way of celebrating it a little later on. And we've already had some big activity in the comment section, and Fraser bequeathed us with a fabulous Burns poem, and I'm going to get to that real quick. But I just want to say hi to some folks. I think he had to bust out. Mo's here, Jimmy Jazz. Great to see you, a trooper. Glad you're here. Flew in from offshore today. Awesome. Just missed all this bad weather. So yeah, about that bad weather, we have a line. We're under a tornado watch, I think, at the moment, and a wind warning with 30 and 40-mile sustained winds. So I hope we stay online tonight. If we go poof, you'll know why. But we're gonna hang in there as long as we've got electricity. So yeah, it's great to see you. Stacey's here with Four Leaf Whiskey. Great to see you, friend. And Malty Alti. How about cousin Shane? Yeah, I am a little late because I was over watching Scott and Roy and cousin Shane on SMWS America, and him doing his rendition. I was lucky enough to be at that La Quinta for the Bastards Ball that year. And Roy was there in spirit, and he was there flatly. We had a flat cutout of him that Mark JG put together, and we carried him around everywhere in spirit and drank spirit to him. But if you didn't see that, cousin Shane, go watch the replay on SMWS to see it. But he sang Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. And so they rounded out their Burns celebration tonight with some fabulous SMWS offerings, along with singing that beautiful, beautiful song. And his pipes. He was laughing that everybody wants him to sing at their funeral now, and I think he's probably got a really long list of people not necessarily wanting to kick off anytime soon, but wouldn't mind him singing some beautiful notes as they go into the next world. Andrew, great to see you. I'm sure you're well in the throes of Burns Night over there in the UK, and thanks for being up so early in the morning. Mike, good to see you too. And look, hey Ray, great to see you here. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm pretty stoked about this. I have to tell you, I am smooth ass worn out. I just got back from Seattle and Victoria last night, and so many things I cannot even begin to tell you how much fun all that was. But yes, we all were cutting onions, right, Martin? Eyes were watering, getting a little teary there for sure. Yeah, it burns. It burns. Hey, George, great to see you. It was really something. It really was. Uh, Martin, I gotta laugh at that. You weren't there that year, but with a night full of drams, yeah, it was. Someone made a comment. Oh, it was Gregor, I think, made the comment over on the other show that it made bear wrestling men fall to the ground bawling or something. I don't know. It was really pretty funny. Hey, Carlos, good to see you too. Awesome for being here. And the Whiskey Franco. Hey, awesome to be here. Yep, we all just jumped from the SMW show over to this one. And we are definitely going to be giving it our best attempt at honoring the great bard. And that would be, Robert Burns. So for those who may not know, like the day job, the thing I do um, for work is I'm a technical writer. So words, I'm a word person. I really am a word person, and there's something magical when someone can put those words together that just flow and um, make an impact on other people. technical writing is kind of interesting because some of it can be a little dry, but the purpose is the same. You're trying to get a point across, right? And when you look at who Robert Burns was and what he still is to the country of Scotland and to the literary world within, the poems that over 700 poems that he created in his very short life. He only lived to 37. And when you look at all of those things and you think, well, you may not have studied much of it, or you don't really know what a lot of that might be, but there's one in particular that you will know what it is. And you probably sing it at midnight on December 31st every year. And that's Auld Lang Syne. That song is his poem. And a lot of people just don't realize that. So, yeah, we're gonna get into this. But tomorrow is his birthday, and he would be 264 years old at this point. So yeah, for him to be the national poet of Scotland, and for them to have this along with St. Andrew's Day, this is a really big deal. And I don't know if you heard Roy in the SMWS, but he talked about this gets everybody, this party, this time gets everybody through a rough mid-year. I mean mid January, because it could be a little drab here and there. So let's see who else just came in. Oh, Mark JG, I was just talking about your friend, about you making flat Roy. And Sugar Kitty is here. Great to see you. Awesome. Yes, Michael, I am back from Seattle and Victoria, and wow, that was truly amazing. So a little bit about that before we kind of get into that, and then I want to hear. Whoop, yikes! Call me Andrew. I'm dropping coins off of glasses. I want to hear what everyone's drinking tonight, to see see how you're celebrating Burns Night. So let's see. I did survive Canada. Nobody had to call bail money for me or Jennifer. We did not get into too much mischief at all, but we got into a lot of fun stuff for sure. Yeah, it was amazing. Um, we ended up, we thought we were going to take a ferry from Seattle to Victoria Island, but the ferries were dry docked, so we had to scramble about 2 weeks before all of this, before our trip, and we ended up having to ride a seaplane to Victoria. So we had a 45-minute seaplane ride that I don't think I'll ever forget. It was so awesome. We are going to have next week's show is going to be all about that festival. It's going to be a complete recap, and Jennifer's going to be on along with Chad Anderson, who is up in BC, and I'm really excited about that. So we're gonna have lots. It's gonna be show and tell, y'all. It's gonna be bottles that we drank. It. We're gonna go through the flights that we had in the master classes. The place is absolutely stunning. It is so gorgeous. I kept thinking how beautiful it would be to get up there when it's sweltering hot in the summer of South Louisiana. Um, I'm sure it's very busy tourist time there, but man, it was so pretty, so pretty. So Mo says he's getting some snow tonight, and Ethan says it's not a tornado watch; it's a Leanne watch. Yeah, come and watch Lee. But yeah, so we are working on some fun stuff for the future, and boy, it was just amazing, y'all. I wish all of y'all could have come and enjoyed it with us. But yeah, so getting back with Burns Night, and tell me, I want to go back up to the very front of the comments and share this with you. So Fraser Thistle popped in before any of us thought about joining earlier this evening, and he had just finished a Burns Night supper to celebrate Burns Night. in Glasgow. And he, I'm gonna flip the stanzas up here, or the verses up here, as he put them in the chat, so you can follow along. But he says, here's a verse from his poem, Robert Burns' poem, Scotch Drink. So I want everybody to have their dram ready. This is a Glen Grant 16, and it's terribly lovely. Music, get what the whistle and get there. And so this is the verse from his poem, The Scotch Drink. Oh, thou my muse, good old Scotch drink, whether through a wimpling worms thou jink, or richly brown ream o'er the brink, in a glorious foam. Oop, I'm a little fast. In glorious foam, inspire me till I lisp a wink, to sing thy name in modern day English. It kind of says, I think that was in modern day English. It kind of says, or here, my love, good old Scotch drink. Through worm tubs you flow and turn. So he's translating for us. Or richly brown over a glorious foam. There we go. Inspire me until an evangelist. No, it inspires him like the evangelist Roy Aquavitae for sure. So let's do a Slàinté and a toast for Burns Night, for Fraser for sharing this poem, and you know, sharing his culture, sharing all of that with all of us. So Slàinté, and thank God for worm tubs. Oh me, I had forgotten about how good this Glen Grant 16 was. I have not had it in so long. And so I picked a couple of drams that were actually gifted to me. And Chris Everwin, I don't know that he's on tonight, knew how much I love this Glen Grant 16. And part of the whole idea about Burns Night is getting together with your friends. So we're all together tonight, right? And sharing that whiskey. So I pulled 2 samples, this Glen Grant 16, and actually Mark Broda has given me some too. And just so it's a way to honor. So I would say if you haven't poured a dram yet, go grab a sample so you can theoretically be in spirit with the person who gave you that sample. Mm. But when you think about like Old Lang Syne, you sing it every year. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot in days of Old Lang Syne? For Old Lang Syne, my dear, for Old Lang Syne, my dear, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. So for all those people that you think about, and for all those people that you might have not thought about, because it's asking a question, all of those people, let's just raise a cup and just spread good cheer for all those. Good deal. So tell me what you're drinking tonight for that. Let's see. I'm gonna see who else is on here. Oh, let me roll back up and see what folks are doing. There we go. What are you? Boy, this smells really good. I am a little worried about the weather, so I'm going to move some things up in the process. So Michael's having a Rolling Rock beer right now and eating dinner. Well, tell me what you eating. Yum. Whiskey Franco is having a Klein Leash, an SMW Klein Leash. That seems apropos coming off of that other show for sure. And Mo has got the Proclati Isla Barley. Ooh, I just love this. So you think about where all of those are come from. You got a nice waxy Highland. Now we're over in Proclati and Isla. And then right now has an exclusive malts McDuff. Interesting. Very interesting. Yes, it's in the middle of the night for for you, Andrew. But Aaron has the Burns Night single malt. That's right. And a Lockley first. So this is what you had, okay, for your dinner. And a Cutty Shark Tam O'Shanter for later. Interesting. Very interesting. Um, yeah, there are Burns Night events going all around. I think the Caledonia Society here in Baton Rouge is having a big one this week, or it might have been this past weekend because I remember I couldn't make it. I was going to be gone, and it is a time to get together and to share those things. You look at all of the work that Burns put together. Uh, to a Mouse was a big one. And there's one I'll just try to get through the dialect on this one. To a Mouse, we sleek it cowrie timorous beast. Oh, what a panic in thy breasty! Thou need na start away so hasty. Why bickering brattle? I wade a lathe and run and a chase thee. We a murdering paddle. So he's getting after this mouse, right? And you don't have to go away too far. I'm just gonna, hit you with this paddle and chase you away. But I don't know if you caught that timorous beast. Does that timorous beastie ring a bell of a particular blended Scotch that's named that? So the influence of him even to this day of that Scotch whiskey that that I think it is a blend, um is felt through this Burns poem. It's also said to have inspired John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, you know and you think about the certain sayings that you hear all the time, like the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. Robert Burns wrote that, those things that we just kind of take for granted and they're just out in the public space, if you will. Um, they're just kind of out there. So this Glen Grant, tell me if you've had the 16. It's very light and I think pretty much all bourbon matured. Mm. Just barely any sweet on it. And yeah, it's really good. So Martin's got a new Kilkerran 16. And you found a use for the bottle of White Walker. You've used it in making a whiskey sauce to pour over haggis. I love it. That's great. Oh wow. So am I think I caught that on the other show, but Martin, y'all are attempting to actually make haggis. That's pretty impressive. And so let's kind of talk about the haggis part. In my first trip over to Scotland when I didn't know what whiskey was, I mean, I kind of knew, but I wasn't a Scotch person then. Um, I remember someone, it was a full Scottish breakfast. And a full Scottish breakfast is something you can go plow the back 40 acres after a full Scottish breakfast. I mean, it's full and it's crazy. And, you've got like meat and eggs, a tomato that's cut in half that's been broiled, some beans, which to me were kind of like growing up in the South, you had pork and beans in a can. They're kind of like that. They were like little navy beans, not like red beans in Louisiana, a big red beans. And bread, good gravy at the bread. I remember the bacon looked almost like a ham stick. It was just so big and thick. I mean, it was a hearty breakfast. And then there was like this other stuff, like almost like a sausage patty, not quite. And I was like, well, what's that? And I can remember the server looking at me like, ha, 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 American, wait till I tell you what this is. And they were like, well, that's haggis. And I was like, oh, this is haggis? Really? Like, well, yeah. And there were these black cubed little bits around. And I said, well, what are these things? And you could tell it was very, very dark, but they were like fried off. Like you'd put them in a pan, whatever cube thing that they were, put them in the pan, you fried them off really kind of hard. And I was like, oh, that's blood sausage. I was like, really? They were like, well, yeah. And I was like, oh, great. I've been excited to try this. And they're like, you're kidding. I'm like, well, no. And he's like, aren't you scared to try haggis? Haven't you heard about haggis being, all this pieces and parts in a lamb stomach and on and on? And it was like, man, I'm from Louisiana. We eat stuff you ain't even heard of. And he said, well, what about the blood sausage? I'm like, yeah, we got that too down there. We eat that too. It is what it is. Um, we sometimes we kind of catch our food and even eat it, like crawfish and frogs and stuff like that. It was really pretty funny. It really was. Um, let's see. Oh, look who dropped in. Hey, friend. What a great guy. Thanks so much, Jason, for coming in. You're so sweet. This is a night for friends and sharing the bounty and sharing. I don't know if it's really like their Thanksgiving, but I kind of think of it in that way because it's about community and about the people that you love and around you. So, I have my trusty cheerleader, also known as Mark, my husband, is preparing something for us here in a minute. I hope it goes well. Um, so I need everybody to have a drink ready to get to drink with me to get through this next little fun part. But yeah, that's going to be really fun. So you're making a white whiskey sauce. Oh no, okay, yes. George is asking you, Martin, if you're making a white whiskey sauce with your White Walker. I love it. I love it. All right, Stacey's having the Talnua. I think that's how you pronounce Talnua. The American single pot finished in a Lefroy cask. Yum. Yum. That sounds great. That really does sound good. Oh, goodness. And then Jimmy Jazz is going through those samples. Good gravy and a Gordon MacPhail 31-year-old Kalila. Okay, you get the gold star, boo, for the fanciest. I bet that's so good. Just a quick teaser. Gordon MacPhail put on a hell of a flight up at the Victoria Whiskey Festival, and I could totally see them having a 31-year-old Kalila that probably is going to knock your socks off. Really, probably will. Um, so yeah, when we get thinking a couple more things on Burns, I loved just his, kind of one-offs. When people cherry pick certain quotes of his out of his poems, neither man can tether time or tide. Neither man, nigh a man can tether time or tide. I can't even say it. So basically, no man can, halt time or the tide. And the way he worked through the Scots English or Scotch language or Scotch dialect. And then he also did a lot of translations of English into his poems. So when his reach was there, he reached his own people through his own dialect. But then when his poems were translated, or either he translated, they went far and wide. And so these are things that are not just shared among, his national people, but worldwide people pick this up. There's actually one, the Halloween poem, and it's reported that Michael Jackson even got inspiration to do his Thriller song, and even parts of the video he pulled out of images that he got from Robert Burns' poem Halloween. So I just really think that's really pretty cool, Awesome, awesome. Oh wow! So you were out there in July at Talnua. Patrick Miller's doing some exciting stuff. I totally agree. They were at the Bastards Ball the last 2 years that I went. Um, Very tasty stuff. I enjoyed them quite a bit, and interesting to see what they're able to do here for sure. And yeah, I think Jimmy, you need to give us a full book report on that 31-year-old Kalila for sure, friend. Absolutely. So, goodness. So, Michael, yeah, Glen Grant, I think is good, solid. Not too. Um, it's not real. There's not a whole lot of depth to it, but there's enough substance to just really sit there and enjoy that dram. I did a review on the 15 on the website, and I got a lot of the banana esters kind on that, and it's at a 50% ABV. So I think it's really a super ow, ooh, yeah. A little bit further. So Mark's helping me with something here real quick that we'll get into because timing is everything. Um, but yeah, the Glen Grant is really tasty. The 15, the 16. I had the 18. I think that was one of like my first big bottles, and it's very interesting. Maybe we need to do a Glen Grant flight here pretty soon. That's got me thinking about that. So, um, I think, this time of year, when we think about Burns Night, we think about the address to the haggis. And we've talked about haggis a little bit. I feel like people in Scotland, when I sat down for food, they were like, oh, watch the American go, with haggis. And basically, haggis uses oats as its filler base of, a menagerie of different meats and all in there. So we have something very similar to that in Louisiana, but we use rice. And what this is boudin. And we also have a blood sausage, kind of like they do over there too. But boudin is what people have eaten in South Louisiana, especially in the Cajun areas of South Louisiana. And much like the sausage, Roy was talking about it tonight. I feel like all my program was there, but that's what the common folk, the common people ate. And so tonight we are going to address the haggis, but instead we are going to address the boudin. So bear with me. Now, if you watch the SMWS rendition of this, cousin Shane was very brave, and he's recited the actual Scottish dialect one. I'm not going there. Not with this accent. No way. So I'm going to be reading the address of the haggis in the English interpretation of it. And we're going to throw some theatrics in there. So hang on with me. Wait, I think I need one more. I think I need one more swig of this dram before I attempt this. So here goes nothing. Okay. Boudin. Here we go. The address to the haggis, aka boudin. Good luck to you and your honest plump face, great chieftain of the sausage race. Above them all you take your place, stomach, tripe, and intestines. Well are you worthy of a grace as long as my arm. The groaning treacher, there you feel your buttocks like a distant hill. Your pen would help mend a mill in time of need, while through your pores the dews distill like amber bead. His knife, his knife, see rustic labor swipe and cut you up at ready sight. Hang on. Ooh, that's hot. Trenching your guts in entrails bright. Ooh, hang on. Oh my gosh. Where am I? Like any ditch. Then, oh, what a glorious sight. Warm, steaming, rich. And I don't know if you can see, but it is steaming. That's boudin. Okay. We're still going. Where do we go? Then, spoon for spoon, the stretch and strive. Devil take the hindmost on they drive, till all in their well swollen bellies by and by, and bent like drums. Then old head of the table, most like to burst, the grace hums. Is there that over his French ragout, or olio that would sicken a sow, or fricassee that would make her vomit? With perfect disgust, looks down with sneering scorn view at such a dinner. Poor devil, see him over there, his trash, his feeble as his withered rush, his thin legs in good whiplash, his fist a nut, through bloody flood or field a dash. Oh, how unfit! But mark the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread. Clamp, clap in his ample fist a blade. He'll make it whistle, and legs and arms and heads will cut off like the heads of thistles. You powers you make, who make mankind your care, and dish them out their bill of fare. Old Scotland wants no watery stuff that splashes in the small wooden dishes. But if you give her grateful prayer, give her Scotland haggis or boudin. So cheers. Welcome. If you've ever seen Louisiana, this is it. And I wish you could smell this. It's absolutely delightful. It's so good. But this is boudin. This is our version, as close as we can get to some haggis here in South Louisiana. And I'm going to take a bit, spoon a bit of it here, and just kind of maybe get it up there to the camera so you can kind of see, yikes, what it looks like. But it's sausage bits, and you can see the rice, and there's all kinds of good seasoning, green onions, just yum yum. Mm, good stuff. Good stuff. I can't believe I did that. That is absolutely hilarious. I hope y'all enjoyed that because it was really pretty funny. Let's go back and look in some comments now while I chew. Oh man. Thank you, friend. Thank you so much. There's nothing like a woman from South Louisiana telling people about Burns Night. But it's so much fun, and it's about community, right? It's about being around your people. Hey Loch Ness, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it, folks. But no, thanks, Jason. That was super sweet, friend. Sugar cases, men make whiskey out of rye unless mice interfere. To make what you really need is a cat. That's right. You got to keep those mice away. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I'm looking here, and Gregor's helping us out. So haggis plus black pudding plus white or fruit pudding. Okay, is the stuff dreams are made of. It really is. It was so good. We even had cubed black sausage or black pudding, or well, I think it was. So help me out, Gregor. I mean, is black pudding I know it's like kind of a dish, but this was like cubed up sausage, blood sausage, I think that we had, and it was really pretty tasty. And it was almost like we had it with deer medallions in like a hollandaise sauce, and it had like just sprinkled cubes of that black sausage that had been fried off. It was so good. Yeah, Peter, we were in some big bad weather, friend. So you know, my window's shaking with the thunder. So we still have lights. We just keep going for sure. Um, Fried haggis tastes like boudin. It really does. It does. It does, Ranil. It really does, for sure. Um, yeah, we had a great trip. Great to see you, Katie. Can't wait to tell you all about it. Oh my gosh. It's gonna be great. Yeah, next week's gonna be a big, big show. I foresee it going long because there's no way in 1 hour we can talk about all the stuff that we did. And then I'm got folks coming on. It's gonna be wonderful. So sugar cases, they're you have ancestors that are in I guess Pennsylvania Germans, and we eat stuff that we're afraid of in Louisiana. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. There's all kinds of things down here that's really pretty kind of crazy. Crazy to eat. Oh man. Um a man's a man is a great Rabbi poem. Yeah. So his nickname Rabbi. I'll have to look that one up. So there's a really good, I'm gonna put this website in the chat real quick. It's burnsorg.uk. If anybody is interested in reading further, this is a group that's put a lot of his, his tributes together, how to do a burn supper. Because tomorrow's his birthday, you can still do your own thing. A lot of his quotes and things like that. But yeah, delve into there because there's some really interesting things, and there are burns clubs. And like I said, even here in the States, there's such Scottish influence in our culture. My dad's side of his family, that we've traced it all the way. Some of his folks, his ancestors in the Carolinas, but from the Carolinas, we found that they came in from just outside Paisley, outside Glasgow, and even in the Northern Highlands. And the 23andMe tells us we've got via Norway Viking into Scotland and Ireland. So it's been interesting to learn those kind of things too, as well, and kind of, not just have some of this to connect with my ancestors, but this is good. This is a good way to connect. Oh, wow. Wow. So I'm gonna have to get my glasses on for this one. So yeah, so Whiskey Franco was talking about his parents, who are Scottish, took you to Scotland when you were 7 and took you to a restaurant, ordered haggis. You had no idea, but you didn't hesitate. And your dad was like, eat it. It's chicken. Well, here we just give people alligator and say, eat it. It's chicken. So about the same. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing the story. So my second dram is one that was shared with me this weekend at the festival by Chad Anderson. And I know he is in the middle of another SMWS tasting tonight with John McShane, who you're going to hear all about next week. And this is an SMWS 93.57. Hey, Jason, you know how I like my 93s, right? Which of course is Glen Scotia. And it's Yo Ho Ho and a bottle of this. It is a 21-year refill sherry butt distilled March 18th, 1992. 58.3. Chad Anderson, look at that absolutely gorgeous color. I'm rationing this sucker out. He was so sweet. He had, well, now that I'm back in the States, I'm not going to worry about customs, but he had some really sweet things that he shared, some drams he shared with me and Jennifer. But oh man, it's just Campbelltown all over it. All over it. Yes. Roy smells haggis. Hey, friend, I know it's like 3 freaking o'clock in the morning over there. that we're having boudin because that's the closest as we can get to haggis over here, really, in at least in an intestinal casing, legit USDA approved, at least. We've all been talking about you and cousin Shane and Scott on the show. Y'all were fantastic. We're all still wiping tears from cousin Shane's rendition of that, for sure. And is really something. Yeah, blood sausage is good. I bet they have some really good variations of that up in Ohio because there's some really good food up there too as well. Yeah, really late. I don't know if you saw my rendition of the address of the haggis boudin, Roy, but my apologies to um to Scotland. I actually ran the idea past John McShane, who's the global brand ambassador for SMWS, when I saw him in Victoria. And I was like, just tell me I'm not going to create an international incident if I substitute boudin for haggis. And I think he was very intrigued for sure. That was for sure. Um, it's awesome. Yes. So we did address the boudin. What kind of dress do you put them in? I would say a cracker dress. This is really good to put it on crackers, and it's very, very tasty. Um, oh my goodness, it's just like I'm trying to catch up and see what everybody else is looking at here. Mm. Yeah, the haggis was king cake. Yes, a king cake would be better. So, on that note, we do have, and actually my Scotch group had it last week, because a week Saturday, um, Tiffany made uh, a boudin king cake. Okay, so think in your mind. So for those that don't know what a king cake is, it's a traditional sweet kind of pastry, like a majorly glorified cinnamon roll. I could kind of tell you, kind of same doughy, yeasty pastry in the shape of a ring or oval, and it's usually stuffed with all kinds of goodies. Like traditionally, it might just be like cinnamon, or they might put cream cheese in there, and then it has icing on the top, like a cinnamon roll does, and then usually three different colors to for Mardi Gras, and it would be gold, green, and purple, and they actually represent the three kings, and we stick a plastic baby in it, and that represents the Christ child. And so it's a king's cake trying to find the Christ child. And it starts about the time of the Epiphany, which is 12 days, the 12th day after Christmas. Long story short. So we've gone and turned it up to 11 up here in South Louisiana. So we have king cakes of every type of flavor: chocolate king cakes, praline king cakes, butter pecan, caramel, just whatever kind, every type of fruit filling, blueberry, lemon, raspberry, cherry, strawberry, you name it, we can make a king cake out of it. Well, uh, yeah. So we also make a boudin king cake. So the same kind of, dough cut in half, and then this deliciousness is spread all in the inside. You put the top layer back on, and one for a restaurant here in town, called City Pork, actually then puts this maple glaze icing kind of, well, it's just like a pepper jelly maple glaze on the top, and then roasted pecans and cracklings and bacon. And so it's a boudin king cake. So that is even better, is putting those two together. Just fabulous. So I'm seeing all the clapping. I'm going to take that as that the rendition was okay on addressing the haggis. That is hilarious. That is so funny, y'all. That was a lot of fun. A Bayou Burns. Yes, yes, Roy, that's it. A Bayou Burns. Somehow I think the bard would actually get it going down here on the bayou. I think he was a pretty uh he was a pretty partying man from what I read about him, for sure. So Okay, so this is interesting because Gregor was even mentioning a chicken version. So making chicken liver. So your wife, Hazel, hello, Hazel, and thank you for um, being understanding of us having Martin's time. Says there's a simple one that you can make with chicken livers. And they are pretty cheap. They're really, I love chicken livers. Believe me, I really do. So I'll have to look at that one up for next time for sure. Um, oh man, that is all right. Um, so I thought that's where Peter Lee had his restaurant was around Paisley. Ah, good. That's good to know when I get over there because I definitely want to try to get over to his restaurant when we go next summer. That's for sure. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I wish I could teleport this beautiful boudin. This came from Jerry Lee's here in town, which is pretty much rated as one of the best, if not the best place to get the boudin. Um, that's really pretty funny. So, oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. And John approves that you're covered tonight. Oh, yeah. It was a beautiful whiskey night. Yes, the boudin sounds great. You can give her a haggis. That's for sure. Yeah, John bona fide me, so I'm guessing from one Glaswegian to another that I did okay on that. I hope you get some rest. You and Andrew are up awfully late tonight to be here. But yeah, this SMWS and just the idea of all of y'all being here and us sharing Burnside. I think that's really what he had in mind is in thinking of having this community and when people have this Burns night, what they have in mind about getting everybody together. Um, you know, when you here's another oh would some power the gift give us to see ourselves as others see us. I mean, even that part, there are times when I wish you could see yourself as beautiful as I see you. That is a lyric from the Avett Brothers, who I absolutely love. And it is to have that gift, the power to gift somebody the way for them to be able to see how we see them and see the friendship in one another. I think that's really, really pretty cool. And all of these things we just kind of take as, just phrases out there, but they came from this mastermind, Robbie Burns. Mm, goodness gracious. I had a slight flicker of lights there. Yikes. um, let's see who else is in. This Glen Scotia is it's pretty much gone, but it's very dry with that. Let me see. I need to look this one up to see all about the Casquino. So sick. It was refill sherry, but yeah, it's not super sweet, and it's pretty hot still. 58.3 at 21 years. But, mm. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for sending that, Martin. I'd like to see what that recipe would be like, and plus the neats and tatty. So potatoes and turnips. And I know Roy. I hope you've gone to bed, friend. But down south we do call them turnips. I think up north they might call them rutabagas, but we call them turnips. My dad's family lived on them. That and poke salad, or they were so poor that's what they ate, for sure. And it that is funny. So, the Cullen you and a little Cullen skink. I remember being in a restaurant in Edinburgh and seeing Cullen skink and thinking, "Oh my god, now that might be something I wouldn't eat just because of the name." And then when I read what it was, it's like a soup, right? And I was like, it was delicious. It was so good. Scotland has unbelievable food, y'all. Um, probably the best scallops I've ever had in my life were at Oban and Jura. The Jura Hotel had unbelievable scallops. The salmon, incredible. Um, and and they were different than some of the things that we get here. Like the salmon there was not like the salmon I had out in Seattle this past weekend. It had a different flavor to it. It's very interesting. So Whiskey Franco's like those SNWS Glen Scotias are magical. They really, really are. You have fun. Oh, you thinking about pouring it? Come on, I'll be a bad influence on you. Fortune favors the brave. I have to pour a little bit more of this because it is so yummy. I want to. Oh man. So there's just a slight sherry note on it because it's refill and it's hogshead, I'm sure, and a little toasted marshmallow. Really no smoke, maybe a little char in the finish. I don't get any peat on it at all. Man. Yeah, I'm gonna twist your arm. Go ahead. I'm gonna twist it. Go ahead. Do it. The whiskey bar on High Street has some awesome Colin skink. I will have to write that down and find that. That's for sure. Hey, Whiskey Uncensored, thanks for coming. I'm afraid you missed my address to the Boudin here. That is our version of haggis is in South Louisiana is boudin, and it's basically a rice sausage. And so I was quite theatrical. Thank you very much. Oh man, let's see who else. Some of the best seafood ever. Scotland, absolutely. Kinlochleven all caught that morning. Yeah, there's something to be said, molasses, about fresh seafood, right? Jennifer and I were in this weekend, Thursday night. Thursday night she got in afternoon. She got in and we went to Westland. Cannot wait to tell y'all about Westland Distillery in Seattle. All single malts, all American malt, single malts. Just about almost 100% now doing Washington barley, which is amazing. And all the different barleys that they use. Anyway, I digress. After that, we went to Taylor Oyster, and we had some fantastic seafood there. But the oysters were so very different from that than they even were from the Gulf oysters. And then I've had oysters on Isla that were completely different from that, and it's amazing. All of that was, when we get things here and we get crawfish here, it was swimming that morning. Everything was swimming that morning. Same thing there in Seattle, same thing, in Scotland for sure. Just amazing food. There's a restaurant, it's not really a restaurant, it's a seafood market here in Baton Rouge called Tony's Seafood. And you'll actually, some of y'all, and especially in the States, may see the Louisiana fish fry packets, the cornmeal packets you might use to fry your fish. And they make jambalaya mix and different things like that. Well, that's the same company that has the seafood market. And when you go in, there's this big open tank. Basically, it's a small swimming pool, if you will, of catfish. And there's a sign over that area that says "swimming on this side, fried on the other side." You literally get that fish swimming. They'll take care of it, dress it out, put it through a window on another part of the counter, and in about 10 minutes you have it fried for you. It cannot get any fresher than that, right? It is so absolutely wonderful. Um, yeah, you could eat your way through Louisiana every visit, but the brown butter sticks to your arteries. Nice. Not you need a big like loofah sponge for that for sure, right? Very familiar with boudin. All things in moderation. This doesn't look very moderate at the moment. This will last us all week. Well, maybe not all week, but at least 2 or 3 days for sure. But yeah, boudin is wonderful. We eat some not great stuff for you down here, and so you have to be really really good there. As far as the oysters, char-grilled oysters are really great. I actually suggest that you put a drop or two, or more than a drop or two of Lafroig or Ardbeg in them, and they're even better. That's for sure. Um, so yeah, Mark JG is a Kilhoman fanboy for sure. Mm, mm, mm. But yeah, so I wish everybody could have some of this boudin. I know, so hopefully, folks, if you ever get down this way, you might want to look Jerry, I think it's a dash or Jerry Lee's boudin. If you look it up, they do ship on dry ice. This is not an ad. I just want you to enjoy and be like, if you are so intrigued, you want to try boudin, I'm telling you, they'll ship it to you. They'll ship it to you, and you can enjoy this as we have tonight for sure. Um, so, but yeah, looking at Robert Burns, all about community and having this. One of my other favorite quotes from him is, "Now's the day and now's the hour," meaning there's no time like the present, right? So I'm really stoked that everybody came in tonight. We've had a good show. Next week is going to be off the charts. I'm working all week. On the plane home, I edited all my photos. I have so much film footage that I'll probably eventually do an actual produced video on the festival, maybe, I don't know. There was no time to do interviews. When I tell you it was boom, 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 and just to run over the itinerary, and we'll go all over it next week. But Friday night I had a tasting with Douglas Lang. So most of them were Old Particular, Expressions, Midnight Series, unbelievable. Then Saturday, the day drinking started at 11:15, and my first one was SMWS, in which we had 2 unreleased expressions. Then that was led with John McShane. Next, after that was Ardbeg with my new best friend, Bry Simpson, who I can't wait. I can't wait to tell you all about Bry. Had some really cool things happen at the Ardbeg tasting. From there were 40 minutes in between each session. So enough time to take a breath. And truly, when you're at those festivals, you really you have to pay attention to what you're doing, because there's a lot of really good whiskey, and you just don't need to you do not need to ingest every bit of it that's in front of you. If you do, you're not going to make the day at all. So the third one was Compass Box, so led by Scott Ellis, and there were 8 different expressions for the Compass Box tasting. And then to round it all out, the final one was, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, yes, Westland. So the owner of Westland, the founder of Westland, was our guide through 5 different expressions that they had. So American single malt. And to hear his passion was a real joy, and actually quite a privilege, because those people believe everything that they're doing. They're drinking the Kool-Aid and all. Thank you, Mark JG, for putting this is where this came from, is Jerry Lee's. Yes, that is exactly Cajun Foods. That is it. I will post that in the comments as well, because it's really some of the best. They put it on dry ice and ship it to you. I've had it. Used to have it shipped to us when we lived in Texas, believe me. That's for sure. So, but yeah, super show. Jennifer's going to be with us next week. Chad Anderson's going to be with us next week. You never know, I might corrupt some one or two other folks between now and then. But I really do appreciate everybody being here, being tolerable of my recitation of the address to the Haggis Boudin. I hope you all have a wonderful week and drink some good stuff. I'm going to finish this Glen Scotia and thank Chad Anderson for his generosity with a big old Slàinté, y'all. And we're going to chow down on some Boudin. And until next week, we'll see you. Be well, drink better. Slàinté, y'all.